Airbus A330-600RS and early Boeing 767S. Airlines, however, were not satisfied with the compromised aircraft. The company instead proceeded with an entirely new aircraft, the A350XWB. Further developments, edit. Initially, the GE90 was only one of 3 Boeing 777 options, and GE Aviation then CEO Brian H. Rowe would have paid for the development of putting it on an A330. However, Airbus' strategy for long-haul was the 4-engine A340, missing the market favoring twins. Responding to lagging A300-600F and A310F sales, Airbus began marketing the Airbus A330-200F, a freighter derivative of the A330-200, around 2001. The freighter has a range of 7,400 kilometers, 4,000 mi, 4,600 mi, with a 65 tons, 140,000 pound, payload, or 5,900 kilometers, 3,200 mi, 3,700 mi, with 70 tons, 150,000 pound. The plane utilizes the same nose gear as the passenger version, however, it is attached lower in the fuselage and housed in a distinctive bulbous blister fairing. This raises the aircraft's nose so that the cargo deck is level during loading, as the standard A330's landing gear results the plane having a nose-down attitude while on the ground. The A330-200F made its maiden flight on the 5th of November, 2009. This marked the start of a 4-month, 180-hour certification program. JAA and FAA certifications were expected by March the following year, although approval by the JAA was delayed until April. The first delivery was subsequently made to the Etihad Airways cargo division, Etihad Cargo, in July 2010. On the 25th of September 2013, at the Aviation Expo China, Beijing Air Show, Airbus announced a new lower-weight A330-300 variant, optimized for use on domestic and regional routes in high-growth markets with large populations and concentrated traffic flows. China and India were recognized as prime targets. This variant could carry up to 400 passengers. The increased efficiency, however, comes more from the installation of more seats than any weight reduction. On relatively short, yet congested routes, the A330 competes against single-aisle jetliners. While the A330's operating costs in these conditions are not far above those of the Boeing 737 or Airbus A321, the A320neo and 737 MAX promise more efficiency. Where the frequency of flights cannot be increased, using larger aircraft, such as the A330, is the only available option to increase capacity. The first customer for the A330 regional was announced as Saudia at the 2015 Paris Air Show. In 2018, the unit cost of an A330-200 was $238.5 m. $264.2 m for an A330-300 and $241.7 m for an A330-200F. New engine option, edit. Main article, Airbus A330neo. The A330neo, Neo for new engine option, is a development from the initial A330, now A330ceo, current engine option. A new version with modern engines developed for the Boeing 787 was called for by owners of the current A330. It was launched in July 2014 at the Farnborough Air Show, promising 14% better fuel economy per seat. It will use the larger Rolls-Royce Trent 7000 exclusively. Its two versions are based on the A330-200 and -300. The -800 should cover 8,115 mi, 15,090 kilometers, 9,380 mi, with 257 passengers, while the -900 should cover 7,200 mi, 13,330 kilometers, 8,290 mi, with 287 passengers. The -900 made its first flight on the 19th of October, 2017, received its EASA type certificate on the 26th of September, 2018, and was first delivered to TAP Air Portugal on the 26th of November. The -800 made its first flight on the 6th of November, 2018, aiming for a mid-2019 type certification and delivery in the first half of 2020. Production, edit. Airbus announced in February 2011 that it intended to raise production rates from 7.5/8 per month to 9 per month in 2012. And 10 in 2013. Production increased to 10 aircraft per month in April 2013, the highest for any Airbus widebody aircraft. In 2012, Airbus expected the A330 to continue selling until at least 2020, with the A350-900 expected to replace the A330-300. On the 19th of July, 2013, Airbus delivered its 1000th A330 to Cathay Pacific. The A330 became the first Airbus widebody airliner to reach 1,000 deliveries, and the fourth widebody to achieve the milestone after the Boeing 747, 767, and 777. As of January 2019, a total of 1,496 A330ceos had been ordered, with 1,437 delivered. In December 2014, Airbus announced that it would reduce A330 production to 9 aircraft per month from 10, because of falling orders. Airbus did not rule out any further production cuts. The announcement led to an immediate drop in Airbus Group's stock price because the company derived a significant percentage of its cash flow and net profit from the A330 program. The A330's financial impact was magnified amid problems in the A350 and A380 programs. In February 2015, Airbus announced another production rate cut to 6 aircraft per month in the first quarter of 2016. This would extend A330ceo production to July 2017, allowing for a smooth transition to A330neo production, which was set to start in spring 2017. In February 2016, Airbus announced it would re-increase the production rate from 6 to 7 per month, in response to new A330 orders. In April 2018, as a result of weakening demand, Airbus announced further rate cuts to 4 to 5 aircraft a month, 50 per year, in 2019. In 2019, Airbus delivered 53 A330s, including 41 A330neos, including some delayed from 2018, and was set to reach a rate of 40 per year, to reflect softer demand for widebodies, as the backlog reached 331, including 293 A330neos, or 8.3 years worth of production. The last A330-200 was delivered to Open Skies, operating 4-level, on the 1st of October, 2019, registered FHLVN, subsequently re-registered ECNNH in 2021. The last A330-300 built was registered EIN and flown to Brussels Airport on the 28th of February, 2020. Aer Lingus took delivery on the 4th of March, 2020. At the time, 4 completed A330-300s for troubled Hong Kong airlines were still undelivered. A330 MRTT/KC-30B and Beluga XL production both continue alongside that of the A330neo. The COVID-19 pandemic reduced demand for new jets in 2020, and Airbus cut its monthly production from 4.5 to 2 A330s. In September 2020, the A330 reached a milestone of 1,500 deliveries, Airbus's first twin-aisle aircraft to do so, and the third overall after the Boeing 747 and 777. Design, edit. The A330 is a medium-size, wide-body aircraft, with 2 engines suspended on pylons under the wings. A 2-wheel nose undercarriage and 2 4-wheel bogie main legs built by Messier Doughty support the aeroplane on the ground. Its tow grew from 212 tons, 467,000 pounds, at introduction to 242 tons, 534,000 pounds, in 2015, enhancing its payload range performance. John Lee states that originally the A330 was intentionally being held down in takeoff weight and performance in order to avoid overlapping with the A340. The airframe of the A330 features a low-wing cantilever monoplane with a wing virtually identical to that of the A340-200/300. On the A330-300, one engine is installed at the inboard pylon while the outboard pylon position is not used. For the A340-300, both engine pylons are used, which allows the A340-300 wing to sustain a higher, wing-limited, tow. This is as the A340's 2 engines at each wing provide a more equal force distribution, engine weight, over the wing, while also the total engine weight counteracting moment is located more outboard with more engine weight located further outboard on the wing. Hence the wing root bending moment with equal tow is less on the A340-300 than on the A330-300. The A340 has a longer range and heavier payload, while the A330 has better fuel economy over the same distance. The wings were designed and manufactured by BAE, which developed a long slender wing with a very high aspect ratio to provide high aerodynamic efficiency. The wing is swept back at 30 degrees and, along with other design features, allows a maximum operating Mach number of 0.86. To reach a long span and high aspect ratio without a large weight penalty, the wing has relatively high thickness to chord ratio of 11.8% or 12.8%. Jet airliners have thickness to chord ratios ranging from 9.4%, MD-11 or Boeing 747, to 13%, Avro RJ or 737 Classic. Each wing also has a 2.74 m, 9 feet 0 in, tall winglet instead of the wingtip fences found on earlier Airbus aircraft. The shared wing design with the A340 allowed the A330 to incorporate aerodynamic features developed for the former aircraft. The failure of International Aero Engines' radical ultra-high bypass V2500 superfan, which had promised around 15% fuel burn reduction for the A340, led to multiple enhancements including wing upgrades to compensate. Originally designed with a 56 m, 180 feet, span, the wing was later extended to 58.6 m, 190 feet, and finally to 60.3 m, 200 feet. At 60.3 m, 200 feet, the wingspan is similar to that of the larger Boeing 747-200, but with 35% less wing area. The A330 and A340 fuselage is based on that of the Airbus A300-600, with many common parts, and has the same external and cabin width, 5.64 m, 19 feet, and 5.26 m, 17 feet. Typical seating arrangements are 2226 abreast in business class and 2428 abreast in economy class. The fin, rudder, elevators, horizontal tail plane, used as fuel tank, flaps, ailerons, and spoilers are made of composite materials, making 10% of the structure weight. When necessary, the A330 uses the Honeywell 331-350C Auxiliary Power Unit, APU, to provide pneumatics and electrical power. The A330 shares the same glass cockpit flight deck layout as the A320 and the A340, featuring electronic instrument displays rather than mechanical gauges. Instead of a conventional control yoke, the flight deck features side stick controls, 6 main displays, and the Electronic Flight Instrument System, EFIS, which covers navigation and flight displays, as well as the Electronic Centralized Aircraft Monitor, ECAM. Apart from the flight deck, the A330 also has the fly-by-wire system common to the A320 family, the A340, the A350, and the A380. It also features 3 primary and 2 secondary flight control systems, as well as a flight envelope limit protection system which prevents maneuvers from exceeding the aircraft's aerodynamic and structural limits. Operational history, edit. Airbus intended the A330 to compete in the Extended Range Twin-Engine Operation Performance Standards, ETOPS, market, specifically with the Boeing 767. ETOPS is a standard that allows longer-range flights away from a diversion airport for aircraft that have met special design and testing standards. Instead of the ETOPS out-of-the-box or early ETOPS approach taken by Boeing with its 777, Airbus gradually increased ETOPS approval on the A330 using in-service experience. Airbus suggested that the A340 and the A330 were essentially identical except for their engine number, and that the A340's experience could be applied to the A330's ETOPS approval. The plans were for all 3 engine types to enter service with 90-minute approval, before increasing to 120 minutes after the total A330 fleet accumulated 25,000 flight hours, and then to 180 minutes after 50,000 flight hours, in 1995. Aer Lingus and Cathay Pacific were 2 important airlines assisting Airbus in this endeavor by building up in-service flight hours on over-ocean flights. In November 2009, the A330 became the first aircraft to receive ETOPS 240 approval, which has since been offered by Airbus as an option. As of September 2024, the global A330 fleet of 1,471 aircraft had 12 years average aircraft age, almost equal to 2.5 years for A330neo, opened more than 350 new city pairs since the launch of the Boeing 787 in 2011, and accumulated more than 65 million flight hours since its entry into service with 99.2% operational reliability. Variants, edit. With the launch of Airbus A330neo, the existing members of the Airbus A330 family, A330-200, 200F, 300, and MRTT, received the Airbus A330 CEO, current engine option, name. A330 CEO, edit. A330-200, edit. The A330-200 is a shortened, longer-range variant, which entered service in 1998 with Canada 3000. The typical range with 253 passengers in a 3-class configuration is 13,400 kilometers, 7,214 mi, 8,330 mi. The A330-200 is 10 fuselage frames shorter than the original 300, with a length of 58.82 m, 193 feet 0 in. To compensate for the smaller moment arm of the shorter fuselage, the vertical stabilizer height of the -200 was increased by 104 centimeters, 40.9 in. The 200S wing was also modified. Structural strengthening of the wing allowed the maximum takeoff weight of the 200 to be increased to 229.8 tons, 507,000 pounds. The 200 is offered with 3 engine types similar to those found on the 300, namely the General Electric CF6-80E, Pratt & Whitney PW4000, or Rolls-Royce Trent 700. Airbus also boosted fuel capacity to 139,090 L, 36,740 US gal, 30,600 imp gal, by adding the center section fuel tank, standard in the A340. A new vertical stabilizer was introduced in 2004 beginning with MSN 555. This newer fin is shorter in height by 50 centimeters, 20 in, and was derived from the design of the vertical stabilizer of the A340-500 and -600, later becoming standard on all newer 330-200s. In 2008, Airbus released plans for a higher gross weight version of the A330-200 to more effectively compete against the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. The new build A330-200 HGW had a 5-ton increase in maximum takeoff weight, allowing a 560 kilometers, 302 mi, 348 mi, range increase and a 3.4 tons, 7,500 pound, payload increase. Korean Air became the first customer on the 27th of February 2009 with an order for 6 200 HGWs. Deliveries of the first aircraft started in 2010. In mid-2012, Airbus proposed another version of the 200 with the maximum gross weight increased by 2 t, 4,400 pound, to 240 t, 530,000 pound. This version had its range extended by 217 mi, 500 kilometers, 310 mi, and carried 2.5 t, 5,500 pound, more payload. It saw engine and aerodynamic improvements, reducing its fuel burn by about 2%. In November 2012, it was announced that the gross weight was to be further increased to 242 t, 534,000 pound, with the range extended by 315 mi, 650 kilometers, 400 mi, over the 238 t, 525,000 pound, version. It was certified by the EASA on the 8th of September 2015. As a result of its vastly increased range while still maintaining the fuel efficiency of the larger A330-300, the A330-200 came into internal competition with the initial A340 variants. The A330-200 proved much more popular than the A340-200, which carried fewer passengers, and its only advantage was an extra range of 2,000 miles that most airline routes did not need. The A330-200 managed to approach, though not match, the range of the A340-300, which did have a higher passenger capacity. This in turn led to Airbus making significant changes for subsequent A340 variants for significantly increased capacity and further range to distinguish the resultant A340-500/600 from the A330 family. The A330-200 competes with the Boeing 767-300 and the new 787-8. In 1998, a newly delivered -200 was valued $94 million, rose over $100 million in 2005 but lowered at almost $75 million in 2019 as the market favors the -300 and the A330 Neo. The 2018 list price was US $238.5 million. As of April 2024, 661 of the 200 had been ordered, 656 of which had been delivered, with 572 aircraft in operation. A330-200F, edit. The A330-200F is an all-cargo derivative of the A330-200 capable of carrying 65 t, 140,000 pound, over 7,400 kilometers, 4,000 mi, 4,600 mi, or 70 t, 150,000 pound, up to 5,900 kilometers, 3,200 mi, 3,700 mi. To overcome the standard A330's nose-down body angle on the ground, the A330F uses a revised nose undercarriage layout to provide a level deck during cargo loading. The normal A330-200 undercarriage is used, but its attachment points are lower in the fuselage, thus requiring a distinctive blister fairing on the nose to accommodate the retracted nose gear. Power is provided by two Pratt & Whitney PW4000 or Rolls-Royce Trent 700 engines. General Electric does not offer an engine for the A330-200F. And unlike the passenger variant, the A330-200F does not offer a center tank as a standard equipment in order to save the weight of the inerting system, reducing fuel capacity by 41,560 liters. However, it is still offered as an optional equipment per customer needs. As of December 2020, Airbus had delivered 38 aircraft with no outstanding orders. The list price is $241.7 million. As well as new build freighters, Airbus has proposed passenger-to-freighter conversions of existing 200 airliners. The A330-200F is sized between the 767-300F and 777F, but trails both Boeing models in orders and deliveries. A330-300, edit. A333 redirects here. For the road in England, see A333 road. Powered by two General Electric CF6-80E1, Pratt & Whitney PW4000, or Rolls-Royce Trent 700 engines, the 63.69 m, 208 feet 11 in, long 300 has a range of 11,750 kilometers, 6,314 mi, 7,300 mi, typically carries 277 passengers with a 440 exit limit and 32 LD3 containers. It received European and American certification on the 21st of October 1993 after 420 test flights over 1,100 hours. The 300 entered service on the 16th of January 1994. The A330-300 is based on a stretched A300 fuselage but with new wings, stabilizers and fly-by-wire systems. In 2010, Airbus offered a new version of the 300 with the maximum gross weight increased by 2 tons to 235 t. This enabled 120 mi, 220 kilometers, 140 mi, extension of the range as well as 1.2 t increase in payload. In mid-2012, Airbus proposed another increase of the maximum gross weight to 240 t. It is planned to be implemented by mid-2015. This 300 version will have the range extended by 400 mi, 740 kilometers, 460 mi, and will carry 5t more payload. It will include engine and aerodynamic improvements, reducing its fuel burn by about 2%. In November 2012, it was further announced that the gross weight will increase from 235t to 242t, and the range will increase by 500 mi, 926 kilometers, 575 mi, to 6,100 mi, 11,300 kilometers, 7,020 mi. Airbus is also planning to activate the central fuel tank for the first time.